It is now time for weather with Nebraska Extension Ag climatologist and Market Journal Chief Meteorologist Al Dutcher. Well, Al, most of the state got a decent dusting of snow over the past week. How are things shaping up in the coming days?
Well, Bryce, you're correct. We have seen snowfall pretty much across the state, even though some of the areas received just barely enough to make the little white on the top of the grass surfaces. That snow, of course, last week eventually caused all of the destructive severe weather in Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, and parts of Indiana, Ohio. And subsequently, the storm that came out this week brought similar conditions to our region, but not nearly as big of tornadic activity in terms of the size of the tornadoes. We did see in Nebraska at least 8 confirmed tornadoes, 2 hail reports, and at least 112 wind events. For the entire region in this one day here in the central United States, there was over 500 wind reports. At least from a standpoint of the data that we have of currently available, at least 5 stations that we know from airport locations across the state exceeded 80-mile-per-hour gusts, with the peak so far being 93 miles an hour at the Lincoln Airport. The good news is a much quieter pattern is going to evolve over this next 7 days. We're going to deal with a little bit chillier weather than we've been dealing with for the past 2 weeks as we get more of a normal type winter pattern. And then we have to pay attention as we get past the Christmas Day holiday weekend for the potential for storms coming from the western United States into the central plains. So as we go to the upper air miles, the first thing I'll draw your attention to is a trough responsible for our active weather here late this week has now moved off to the east. We have a little bit of cool air that will be sagging in this with this trough this afternoon. That's going to keep us fairly chilly off the day. Most of the temperature will be in the upper teens to the low 30s. Most of the snowfall stays well to our east and to our north. Now as we go into tomorrow, we start to see a rebound in temperatures back into the lower 40s, upper 30s. Most of the gen energy stays to the north of us, so we're going to be fairly high and dry here in the center part of the country as the main activity wanes to the west of us and to the east of us. By Monday, a little bit more warmth as we make it up potentially into the low 50s across the south and the mid 40s across the north. Once again, even though there's surface low showing here in eastern Colorado, no moisture for us to deal with as it remains pretty much locked over the western United States. We do have a trough moving across the Great Lakes that will push slightly cooler area into our region and a massive upper air storm trying to move into the western United States. Surface low starting to develop in southeastern Wyoming. Once again, the fetch of moisture ahead of that low, there's just nothing there, so there's really going to be no precipitation. By Wednesday, a piece of this energy looks like it wants to eject out through the southern Rockies, and at the same time we have surface lows to our south over eastern portions of Missouri and in the Ohio River Valley, so they're going to interrupt any of that moisture flow up toward the north. As that first piece of energy moves in, it's going to basically develop a ridge behind the backside of it and bring a little bit of cooler air from our north, dig it down into the Ohio River Valley. That should keep our temperatures pretty consistently within the normal range. We should be in the upper 30s to the mid 40s across the state. On Friday, we'll get a little boost in temperatures. This will be Christmas Eve. We may see temperatures making it up into the mid to upper 40s across the south, lower 40s across the north. That big storm to the west starts to eject that energy in as we get into the post-Christmas time period. So this is the one to watch for. Look at the 8 to 14 day forecast. It takes us from essentially next Thursday through the following Tuesday, above normal temperatures to our south, well below to our north, so we're kind of caught in that transition zone. And in terms of precipitation, well above normal moisture the entire period to our west.